First question I'm going to ask direct to Austin, and we'll go down the table, and then we'll do the second question and start with Greg and work our way down so everybody has a chance to be first and last, if that's how it works out. So I want to start off with a conversation about our challenging financial times in education. And so the question I want to put to everybody is, what would you consider your priorities for the district and our students as we face the possibility of more cuts at the state level?
When I talk to people in our community, their priorities are centered on long-term goals so that upon graduation, students can be ready for what's next, whether that's entering the workforce, college-bound, or service to America. First, we can improve instructional performance to accommodate multiple learning styles. We need more teachers to start conducting learning style assessment tests at the beginning of the school year. The board should encourage all teachers to do this, as well as assist principals in supporting their efforts. Gaining this efficiency in the classroom would be a matter of teamwork and would not require much additional funding. Second, students who plan to enter the workforce upon graduation need the best possible ROP instruction. Not everyone is going to college. We really need to ensure the success of all of our students. These classes really give students hands-on learning with real jobs. Finally, we have to do all we can so that college-bound students are able to get into the best colleges. In the same way that resources are made available to our Athletic P program, similar opportunities should be given to students who would like to focus instruction to prepare for college entrance exams like the SAT and ACT. These three actions require little, if any, additional funding. Mostly they require an open mind about refocusing current resources and reevaluating administrative practices to meet these priorities.
The first thing we have to do is continue to understand that our mission is to protect the kids and to keep the cuts as far away from the classroom as possible. And the way, we've unfortunately had to deal with budget cuts every year that I've been on the board. And the very first year we did, and the way our process works is we look at all the various items that are potentially can be cut, and we prioritize them, and we put them into groups. And from those that are easiest to cut down to the ones where, gosh, we just really don't want to cut this, and unless we absolutely have to get to that level. And then depending on how the financial condition ends up working out, we work our way down the list, and then we restore things back from the reverse order. So I think it's important that and those are one of the things that's contributed to us right now having an average class size in the K-8 of 23 to 1, which is the lowest in the region. And that's fantastic because we've been very conservative with our finances. We've looked to save money everywhere we can. We've done made tremendous progress in energy efficiency and those kinds of initiatives. And then we also want to make sure that we take community input during the budget process and as we continue to prioritize these. And the state right now is paying us about $5,900 in 88. That, whereas if Prop 98 were fully funded, we would be getting about $7,600. So we've been absorbing about $12 million worth of cuts over the last number of years. And we've done that, and we've tried to keep it away from the classroom, and we will continue to do so. The other big issue for us is going to be managing our growth efficiently. We've done a really good job on it, I think, so far. Unfortunately, growth doesn't always happen smoothly because the economy changes and how houses get built seem to be in clumps. But right now, we're growing at half an elementary school year. And then also, finally, I want to make sure, and I've really enjoyed this being on the facilities committee, is making sure that Dublin High and some of our older campuses are continuing to be upgraded as well.
Okay, so some of this might be a little bit of a repeat, but my priorities, if we do get faced with major cuts and during these challenging times, is to keep the cuts as far away from the classroom as possible. And we use data to really look at that, and then also stakeholder input to ensure that we're making the right choices for our students. I also hope, and this will be one of my focuses, is that we continue to look at our career technical education program and we continue to build that because it is aligned with our Common Core standards that are coming in, and it does give our kids that practical application that they need to be successful when they leave our schools. And I think another focus will be looking at partnerships. And we already do that, but I think if we have budget cuts, we're going to be faced with really redefining what partnership means. But just as an example, the ROP program has already taken a lot of cuts because it's a categorical fund and there's flex funding, and districts can take that money sometimes if they need it to balance their budgets, and that's happened. But we've made it work. We cut our location expenses. We actually partnered with Alameda County. As soon as we had to cut our nursing program, we went out and we found someone to fund it, and that's something that we're going is finding different partnerships. And you know, we have DPI, and we have other people, and we just may have to rely on them more. And we also have a parcel tax that might need to be reauthorized in a couple of years. So we're going to have to continue to keep our trust in the community, spend our bond money the way we say we're going to do it, use our parcel tax money for science specialists and to keep classroom sizes smaller, and do all those things so that we can continue to have the trust from the community so that if we need their help, they're still there. And last, I just want to say that one of my priorities is arts education. So even if we do face cuts, I'm still going to keep that on our list of priorities to see how can we make that happen while we're still providing STEM education and all of the things that are required. Thank you.
Well, this will sound like a repeat, but that's okay. I'll try not to repeat too much. The fiscal stability of the district is so important because if we're not fiscally sound, it impacts every one of our students, it impacts our teachers, it impacts our staff, and in the end, it impacts the community. And I've been on the Financial Advisory Committee for the last 6 years, 2 years before I got on the board, and now the 4 years I've been on the board. And we always look at how do we keep the impacts away from our students. It is so important. But we also look at how do we invest in our greatest asset, which is our employees and our teachers. And we have spent the last several years investing into the professional learning community model. So we can have that collaboration, so we can have the time where our teachers can get together and articulate between grade levels and between classes and say, what are you doing that's working? And to do that, you really have to invest in your staff. And we've spent a lot of money in our staff, and we're almost to 100% of our teachers having been trained. And the collaboration, you know, they're putting 16 days into this year for collaboration time, so they can help our students when they're in their class, and then also when they're moving up to the next level. They've worked with the other teachers, so they're prepared for that. ROP, we were a district that said when ROP was in trouble, we funded and lent them some money so they can make it through the time, because we are one of the largest users, if not the largest user of ROP in the Tri-Valley. And so, thank you very much. And so it is so important to us. I mean, my middle son spent 2 years in the ROP with multimedia. And then the last thing is the arts. We need to continue funding arts. We're going to have the absolute best performing arts center in the Valley, and we need to make sure that we're funding that because kids who are involved in the arts do better.